Люлі, чужим діткам дулі-дулі.
Hey, so we're back. Sam here, Stellar Global, where we like to go ahead and this is what I'm really excited about this conversation, because at Stellar Global, we really are here to focus on connecting entrepreneurs and the dev community, which, as this whole weekend has proven, is really synonymous nowadays. Really tap into the Stellar network and the overall blockchain ecosystem. And I've got here Morgan Bourbon with Techstars. Here with us to discuss, actually we just had a really big announcement that just came out, right? You have Techstars, Moneygram, and the Stellar Development Foundation announcing this incredible Accelerator Program that you have going on. Welcome to the Stellar Lounge. How are you?
Thanks. Great, man. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
So how you been enjoying South by Southwest so far?
It's been really good. I mean, I'm tired, but
Yes.
I think that's just being out of practice of 2 years with no events. But it's great to see all these people coming back together, right? Running into founders on the street, dinners,
Right.
mixers. So it's been fantastic, and I love the content this year. Feels really good, really on point.
Yeah, it's so interesting to me that where we are. I mean, South by Southwest started off as a music conference,
Right.
but here we are with it's Finance 3.0 that Stellar is sponsoring, but it's just really merging. I mean, we're talking NFTs, we're talking tech, we're talking blockchains at the center of it.
Yeah.
All of it right now.
Yeah, no, it's great, and you can go from track to track, and you see the parallels and things that kind of weave through all of them.
Right.
And certainly, I can't think of a session where blockchain has not come up.
Right,
it's been
exactly,
really exciting.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, so we have this big announcement with MoneyGram, but before we get into that, I kind of wanted to start off in the beginning for those that are new, a little bit about Techstars. If you could give a little background on what you guys do.
Sure, happy to. So, Techstars is a global network, and we're a kind of a worldwide network designed to help founders and entrepreneurs succeed wherever they might be. We've been around for 15 years. We started in Boulder, Colorado, and now we're fully global.
Wow.
And if you think about kind of the entrepreneurial journey, it's a meandering walk, right?
Right.
And we believe that great technology, great founders exist everywhere. And so we're all about helping those founders scale and grow. And so as we think about that journey, we plug in different partners, corporate, government, university, investors, across that whole life cycle in a variety of different ways. And so we have a very early stage program for founders. We have more community-based programs to help with the startup ecosystem in communities all over the world. We have a venture fund where we invest in seed and Series A. And then we have our accelerators. And so when you put all of that together, it's really designed to help founders scale all the way from idea to IPO and maybe beyond.
No, I think that's great. And as an entrepreneur myself, I've been an entrepreneur for the past 17 years. And I
Awesome.
know firsthand that it's, the money's great, right? You want the capital, but it's really that entire like system around you, the connections, the network, the resources. I was looking at Techstars, and Mael, your CEO, has extremely impressive background. I'm looking at some of the companies here that she's worked with. Priceline Group, who's behind OpenTable, Kayak, Bookings.com, Compass, Ozone. She brings such a high level of experience to Techstars. Maybe you could speak on a little bit of that impact and how it kind of meanders all the way through your ecosystem.
Yeah, absolutely. Mael's fantastic, right? Very entrepreneurial driven, very founders first. And I
Right.
think that is the key to everyone at Techstars, right? From our founders to every single person who's worked with the company and the organization, is we are founders first. We think about what do founders actually need to succeed, right? And you kind of mentioned it, right? Having done it for 17 years, like
Yeah.
it's really hard.
It is.
And so you need the mentorship, you need the network, and you need that kind of to all come together. And Mael is very focused on, as well as the whole organization is focused on the founders first, and helping bridge opportunity gaps, right? So
Right.
where can we find, maybe there's underrepresented founders, people who the venture capital community has overlooked in the past.
Right.
That's a huge opportunity for Techstars because, again, going back to what I first said, like great tech and great founders are everywhere. So let's go find people all over the globe and bring them into that system and help the community grow and be more inclusive.
So let's talk about that. Inclusive, right? And so, especially when you go into blockchain, so often, you see these big splashes. X Foundation gave somebody $20 million, right? And it's just it's almost like this feeling of money just being handed out. One of the things that I want to talk about is this relationship that you guys have with the Stellar Development Foundation, whose mission has been to create and provide equitable, inclusive access to the global financial system. I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, it started maybe October of last year, where there was a startup weekend announced between Stellar and Visa. Let's start with that journey. How did that kind of come together?
Yeah, for sure. So what Startup Weekend is it's a 54-hour event where we bring people together from all different walks of life, and they come together for a weekend. And the idea is maybe at the end of the weekend, people want to meet other people and start a business. And so it's the very early kernel of an idea. Think of it as like a glorified hackathon, right? And so
Nice.
when we work with different corporate partners and the relationship with Stellar and Visa was focused on Latin America, right? And it was during, not the height of COVID, but certainly during COVID.
Right.
But it's really all about trying to find different people and giving them opportunities to find other like-minded people, develop on blockchain, develop different types of businesses that are all around the financial inclusion component, right? And I think one of the things I love about the way Stellar is looking at this is that kind of global community, right? And the fact that you can be inclusive and you can create these new technologies that help people get plugged into that financial system. And who better to partner with than Visa, right? Who's payment processor, been all over the world. And then so the relationship with the three of us is really kind of how that got started. And from that, it evolved into we're going to run an additional startup weekend in Latin America as well, focused on founders down there with just Techstars and Stellar. And then, obviously the Accelerator you mentioned. And so when you think about the whole picture, it's really about from the very early kernel of an idea, how can we find those founders, get them into the network, give them opportunities to meet other founders, or maybe they're not even founders yet. Maybe they're just developers. Maybe they're just people who want to be part of the entrepreneurial community. So find them, give them opportunities, help them scale, help them get to the mentorship piece and grow.
I think that's exciting because one thing that I've been talking about in the community, I know you guys have heard me all the time, is, so often in the blockchain and crypto, it's just about passively holding a coin and waiting. What I love about Stellar and what you're describing here is exactly what I'm passionate about, right? Is this opportunity to become your own boss, create your own journey, be part of your own story. So I think that's incredible. So like, you have this startup. So you have some that may quickly go into an accelerator program, but something that you mentioned also is that for many others, it kind of can funnel in. I know that I was just speaking with Anka, and you're talking about the Stellar Community Fund, which can be, it's another source of funding that comes from the Stellar community that can help them to get to that next level if they're not there yet.
Right.
So let's go into the Accelerator Program.
Sure.
Give us some background, because I know this is like an incredible journey. This is not like a 1 week thing. This is intense.
Yeah, that's right. And I think it's important to kind of define what we mean by accelerator.
Yes.
Because if you ask everyone watching what an accelerator is, you would have a different definition by every single person.
Absolutely.
So what we mean by an accelerator is this, is we recruit companies from all over the world. We bring them to a given location. In this case, the one we're running with Stellar and Moneygram is going to be virtual and hybrid. And so what that means is it'll be mostly virtual, but we'll spend a week in Dallas, close to the Moneygram headquarters, and a week in Mexico City.
Oh,
and so,
nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we'll bring these companies to a location. We'll work with the Stellar and Moneygram team to whittle down the list of hundreds of applicants down to the final 12.
Okay.
And those 12 companies come through an intense 13-week boot camp.
Wow.
And the boot camp is designed to, there's a component of mentor magic or mentor madness. We help them get capital. We help them structure their business. Maybe they have to pivot. You might meet with a founder and tell them one thing, and I'll turn around 30 minutes later and tell them something else. So we help them kind of put their business back together. Really intense, all designed to help them basically do as much in those 13 weeks as it would take them a year and a half to do outside, right?
Wow.
And the key component is taking that accelerator and putting it into the network. So we have 49 accelerators all over the world. And so helping these founders as we're investing in them, not just the capital, that's important, but it's also the mentorship. It's getting connections to, folks like you at Stellar, folks at Moneygram, so they can develop pilots, proof of concepts, develop co-development projects, things like that. So it's a very, structured process. We've run these all over the world. As I mentioned, we have 3,000 plus startups in our portfolio that we've invested in.
Wow.
And so it's a really important program from the early seed stage to help founders kind of as they go on to their journey.
No, that's incredible. It's a complete system. Now, when is the start? How can, I'm sure right now there are tons of people watching like, okay, how do I get plugged in? Because it's so needed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what does that process look like? How can we get started?
Yeah, so we had the announcement, and so we're kind of, meeting with the team, setting, the internal objectives. We're going to go out and do a recruiting roadshow.
Nice.
We're going to hire a managing director, program manager. Don't quote me on the exact date, but it will be the beginning of, the accelerator itself will be the beginning of 2023.
Awesome.
So that 13-week program. Now, there's a ton of work going on beforehand, right, in the recruiting, so send the applications in for sure, and they're all through F6S is where we're hosting all the applications, and then obviously these startup weekends, right? The idea is we can start building the buzz. I mean, in a perfect world, it'd be amazing to find people come together at a startup weekend. They get through the program, maybe they get some community money, they come to an accelerator, they get venture funding, and they scale. That's like the perfect story, right?
That is it.
So there's ways to get involved right away, but the accelerator will be beginning part of 2023.
That's incredible. I know that absolutely in the Stellar Global community, that startup is something that we're going to be pushing heavy, because I really like that idea, and I think that everyone listening should really consider getting involved, because I mean you can't get this, and the fact that you got Techstars, Stellar, Visa, MoneyGram, really creating this ecosystem around entrepreneurs is incredible, and especially for those that are underrepresented. Going into the Latin brown communities out there. It's that's where it needs so strongly.
Yeah.
I want to wrap up here. We're sitting here in the Stellar Lounge. Got the Stellar sign here. Share with the community and maybe even for those outside your experience in working with the Stellar DevRel team in putting this together, because this is a lot of work to get all this organized.
Yes, it was. The team's fantastic, right? I think what I love about Stellar and the whole team is just the visionary aspect of it. It's
Right.
like, what is the art of possible, and how can we start structuring that to then make that a reality? And so I've been working with the team. I think the initial conversations around the Accelerator started about a year ago.
Wow.
And so it has been, and I like that because it's very thoughtful, right?
Correct.
And Techstars is not just in the business of like spinning these things up. We only have 49 because we only have 49. We're pretty particular about who we work with. So I love the whole community team from Stellar is very founders first, focused on the founders, focused on the community. That's super important for us. So the
Right.
thoughtfulness of building this over the last, 6-12 months has been an incredible experience getting to know everybody as well. And certainly the energy being around here is great.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, you heard it first. This is a great opportunity. So happy to see Techstars, MoneyGram, Visa all collaborating here with the Stellar Development Foundation to bring you access to a global financial system. This is what it's all about. When you say a mission of financial inclusion, equitable access, I think this is what it looks like. You're seeing it right here. Not only on the stage right now, but throughout this entire weekend, we've been showcasing just the diversity and the strong commitment to making your dreams reality. So I really want to thank you for stopping by.
Of course.
Man.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been great. Once again, this is Sam with Stellar Global, Techstars. We're going to be here for the rest of the weekend enjoying it. Make sure to continue to follow, get involved, join the Stellar Global Discord, and we'll definitely keep in line for when the next Startup Weekend is going to be taking place. So thank you very much.